Hi, everybody. It's Lisa Murray here, and I'm here with Mark, one of my dearest friends. We've been friends for, I think, almost 20 years. He is an Aveda pure
Professional,
professional,
cutting professional.
yes, and also owner of Milagro Salons. It's the only salon that does my hair and matches my color to my wig, which is no secret for anyone who knows me. And so today we're hanging out and talking. We're having a wonderful martini talk, and we invite you to join in and just watch us and listen. And hopefully, there'll be a nugget there for you for your business or to inspire you to be better in the community and just hang out with us. We look forward to having you be a part of the conversation. So, yeah, talk to me. All the stuff that's happened with COVID. How have you pivoted with the salon and all the stuff that we've had to do? Both of us, we're used to taking care of people up close.
Yeah, and I will tell you the scariest and the hardest was getting the email or being informed that the government had
Shut it
shut it
down.
down. So that was the dreaded email that we didn't want to get. However, we were, it's like with any business, you have to prepare. So we were prepared for it. We had some stuff in place on how we were going to handle it, as well as just getting ready with, if it did happen, what's it going to look like when we reopen? So we knew that we were going to have to take care of the team. We knew that we were going to have to take care of the client. So we were putting a protocol in place to make sure that everybody was safe.
Yeah, and felt like they were. That's the thing that's been so strange about all of this is I've got clients that want to bring me their children to photograph, and they know that it's clean because
Yeah.
it's always been clean. I mean, I'm taking care of babies out of the NICU. We don't let anybody come in that's sick anyway. I mean, because you can pass it to me, and then I can pass it to a new baby or whatever. I mean, like there's so many things over the years that we've got in place for that, and it's amazing to me though how many people have been like, oh yeah, no, I think I'll show up in the fall.
Yeah.
And the fall's kind of scary looking right now because now instead of having a normal, which is already busy because of Christmas, a normal schedule, it's like everybody that didn't want to come in the spring, summer, school starting is all trying to cram into the fall, and they don't realize that there's now staggered shoots and time in between to clean even more than we normally would. And so I don't know what the fall is going to look like. I'm kind of a little bit scared because I brought Heather in. Obviously, Heather's been here, but Heather's in every weekend. It's Saturdays and Sundays, pretty heavy. It's 3 hours in between instead of two. Some of them are just going to be photographed and not even come in to do a presentation. We're just going to send them home and do everything online. But the problem with that though is that you know how people procrastinate. So the labs are full, and if they don't pick out those photos within a timely manner, we can't get that delivered back for Christmas and Christmas cards before it's time to get them in the mail. So I see sort of a backlog of what could be a huge problem in the very near future because people they already have to chase them down anyway if they go home, and now if they're all going to go home, it's like, okay, what do you want for Christmas? What do we put on the Christmas card? And then have to wait with all the other photographers at the lab because everybody's down to a skeleton crew, because of stuff like all the other businesses who've had little incidences where people have been tested positive, then that sends a whole new team home for 14-day quarantine and all of that. But you guys opened up back. I was one of the first people that came in.
Yeah, we opened up May 18th.
Yeah.
And we were shut down March 18th.
Mm-hmm.
So it was almost two months
Mm-hmm.
to the day, and I think a lot of it was, what is this new reality going to look like?
Mm-hmm. And how long?
How long? And what's it going to feel like? Because wearing a mask 8 to 12 hours a day, 10 hours a day, it took a little while to get used to. However, I think now it's become the new normal.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like you said, with, not allowing sick people to come in because you could get sick and then you could get a baby sick or whatever. I think the mask thing might be a way of the future, trying to keep people healthy.
Interesting
and
for me to
like
see
that.
and you to see this fall when the flu season comes in. That's been the big kind of talk. I used to always get a flu shot, and this year my friend Amy Jo, who's in North Carolina, she's a nurse and she's in a COVID hospital. And she's like, I don't want you to get the flu shot. I just want you to stay with a mask and stay with your distance and but I don't want you to get anything at all because of all the heart stuff and everything else. Just like, I just don't want you to do anything. Don't put anything weird, vaccinations in your body right now. And I always did that. I always did that because I thought it would protect the kids, the newborns, the moms that are pregnant. But I'm not going to do it this year. I don't think anybody in the house is going to get one this year. Maria might, but whatever.
I've never gotten one, and I'm around the public all the time. But I think a lot of it, or I attribute a lot of the fact that if and when I got the flu, it was a scratchy throat, it was a low fever.
Same as me. I've never really gotten sick.
But my hands are in water all the time. I'm shampooing all the time.
It's the same as me. I'm constantly washing hands in between everything, and I'm changing diapers, washing hands, cleaning up puke, washing hands. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't have to do all that.
I know, but you know what I mean. Like it's a messy job, and so you're constantly cleaning yourself and the area that you're in. So we weren't dirty people to begin with. I think that a lot of people that may or may not have just practiced normal cleanliness will find themselves healthier because of this, because they just weren't doing what we normally do.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it too, especially from the business aspect, we hear a lot of, this is the only place that I've gone. This is the only place that I'm going to. I still order my groceries online. However, going to the salon is something that it makes me feel good, and it's something that I have to do. So I think. Well,
and you know what, Mark? I mean, I wear that wig, and you've teased me about it for years and whatever, and you know the reason why I have it and wear it and all that, and tied to mom and all that. But even when I switch over to the dark wig, it's like, ugh, whenever, it's, when the roots are there, there's just like a whole nother level of like, you're already, ugh. And then if it's not blonde, and I don't like two-toned hair anyway, and I don't like that. I like it to either be blonde or it's not any other option. It's just got to be blonde. You feel better.
Yeah.
You feel weird when you don't look like you're supposed to. Even if you're not going out to the public anymore, you still want to it's like somebody sent something on Facebook the other day and they're like, oh God, how many of you girls have not worn any of your jewelry? I'm like, hell, I've been out in the garden digging in the dirt. I don't wear any jewelry anymore. I used to be dripping in diamonds every single day. I go out and I was always put together, and I put all that away, and I mean, nobody's looking at it.
Yeah.
And you don't even need to lose it in the garden. For God's sakes, I wouldn't want to lose something like that in the middle of the dirt.
Yeah. And I definitely feel personally that there's just this weirdness about it where, it's almost work to get up and go to work and do the things that you've always done that were just fun and that you couldn't wait to get there or whatever, because of how we're living now, and I do believe that, as a business, we have to do everything that we can to keep everybody healthy.
Right.
But still, you can't go to dinner like you used to. You can't just go have a martini with a friend at a bar like you used to. Everything's so limited that it still just does something to you. And it's kind of wearing.
Well, it is. It's like too, it's get up and it's like, technically, I mean, honestly, all of us that are working from home, and I've always worked from home, so it's a little bit different because I've always gotten up, got dressed, gone to work, gone to the studio, but I don't have people in the studio like I normally do. So I could just get up and not get dressed. And a lot of people are getting up and not getting dressed. They're just living in pajamas, or I can't tell you how many people I've talked to. I'll call them on Zoom and they're like, oh no, wait a minute, I'm not even dressed. And I'm like, it's 2:00 in the afternoon.
And I'll tell you what, those 2 months that I have never in my entire life not worked for 2 months.
Me either.
I didn't know what to do. I was going nuts. I started a backyard project, and not even halfway through it, I was just like, screw this, it's too much work. So I hired somebody to finish it. But there were some things that I started that, cleaning closets and stuff that really weren't that important, but I was trying to find stuff to keep me busy because I was just so, and then watching the clock, waiting for 5:00 to at least come around to pour my first drink.
Pour your drink, yeah.
But it was
that's
like,
the thing too. I've talked to so many people, and it's like, and they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I telehealth the cardiologist. Like the first meeting after the heart surgery, he was like, I don't want you to come in because he's exposed to COVID in ICU." And I was like, I respect that, and I really appreciate that because I didn't want to be exposed to any of it. He was really worried. And I was like, I don't know what to do. And he's like, well, you can write, keep planning vacations. I said, no, the travel industry's dead. I've got to scramble now to get everybody's money back and move everybody to 2021. Once I get all of those people taken care of, I've got to reschedule the photos. And once I get the photos rescheduled, that gives me something to do. Although it's not really nice because I'm getting paid when that's being done. And if I don't move them, if I move them to 2021, I don't get paid until they go, right? So I'm walking away from, money that was already done for this year, that was already not accounted for and spent, but accounted for as completely finished, just waiting for them to do the final stuff, and then off they go and have a fun vacation. So all of that and that whole mood around the travel industry has been it's been like highs because so many people didn't use a travel advisor, and those people got screwed because they didn't have anybody to help them get their money. And then lows because so many people were looking forward to doing things. Weddings, we've canceled all of our weddings. Every wedding we had on the books to shoot and to do the honeymoon are all moved to 2021. It's like everything just stopped, right? And so I was like, what am I supposed to do? I mean, I've got books to read, I've got art I can create. There's not but so much you can do of that. And like you, clean out a closet, clean out all the drawers, get everything organized, do stuff that you never had time to do, find the time to do it. It's like plant a garden. And so I was like, okay. So, I mean, I always planted like a little bit of a garden, but I mean, like I just went, and that's what happened. I how I always am all in. My personality is all in and I got to go. So when I started planting, first I was planting normal, and then it was like Brian watched it and didn't say anything. And then you looked out in the backyard and it was just this full spread of what had to be taken care of. And that saved me because every morning it was like, that needs to be watered, that needs to be tended, that needs to be fertilized, that needs to be picked, this needs to be planted, this needs to be moved. I had so much to do that days went by, weeks went by, and I was just outside.
Well, and I think that's probably the most important thing is that it got you outside. Because it's so easy with Netflix and Amazon Prime and whatever to just say, okay, I've got nothing to do. Let me watch a series or let me watch a movie.
Sit there for binge watch it
for hours. And me personally, I won't watch a series because I don't want to get caught up in it and start. I'll watch a movie, hour and a half, 2 hours, it's done.
Yeah.
I don't want to get caught up in a series because it's just like that. I always feel that there's so much other stuff you can do or be doing that I don't want to get caught up in. Now, I can be lazy too.
Well.
But I also spend a lot of time at the salon, which, I mean, for the last 30-something years, that's all I've done.
Well, that's the thing. 22 years I photograph babies every day. And they've hugged me and kissed me and run out of the cars and called me Auntie A, and they don't know the first thing about how to respond. The human behavior and the natural behavior whenever they see me is to pick them up and twirl them around and hugs and kisses. And it's not normal to wear a mask. It's not normal for them to be wearing a mask. It's not normal for them to not hug me, touch me, kiss me. I'm Auntie A. And so what I've done is I've leaned down and let them grab my leg, and I've given them a good squeeze. And I've said, okay, as long as I'm over here shooting and you're over there sitting, obviously I'm not going to want to photograph you with a mask on. I don't want to have that in your portfolio of what I've done for your childhood. But you can't see me. If I have a mask on, you can't see me. So masks are off. Masks are on when we're close. Masks are on when we greet. But masks are off when I'm shooting because I just feel like it's just too weird.
Yeah.
It's too weird. And I'm farther than 6 feet away. Where I am, where I sit in my chair and where I'm rolling around and getting the shots, they're farther away from me than 6 feet anyway. And it's not cool. I mean, I can't make silly noises through a mask. I can, but they're not going to respond the same way.
Right.
And somebody asked me that the other day, like, how are you even doing this? And I said, I don't know. Santa Claus is coming. Santa Claus is coming in October, and the whole day has been booked for a year. And I called him last week, and I'm like, how are we going to do this? Because nobody else is going to the mall to do Santa. You're not going to sit on Santa's lap anywhere at all. How are we going to do this? And he's got this whole protocol in place of sanitizer that won't mess up his suit and gloves for every single client. And if they need to be 6 feet away, some sort of really neat sort of interaction and it be memorable of 2020 and the way that we see Santa. And Patty asked me at the magazine to write for next month. You know, we're always a month out. So I'm due today, tomorrow, a couple of days for September is for October. How do you do Halloween? And I told her, I said, I don't even know how you do Halloween. I mean, we've never done trick or treat anyway because of Victoria Ann's food allergies. So we always had the big spooktacular, which I canceled because I'm like, I can't rent a bounce house and have slides and kids running through the yard and picking up pumpkins.
Well, not only that though, but as a business and as a professional and a recognized person in the community to throw an event and then the majority of the people get sick, or the majority
No, thank you.
It's not, it doesn't look good. Again, that's not the intent.
No,
However,
never.
and even with, Santa Claus coming, he's got all these protocols, and it's just like, I think the name of the game has become, how do I protect others from me?
Yeah.
Just in case.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the hard part. It's the hard part, but it's also the caring part. If you care about your family, if you care about your friends, if you care about your clients.
Oh, it's so funny because people will call and they're like, okay, I work at the hospital and you've had a heart attack, multiple heart attacks or whatever, and Brian's got diabetes and we're not coming until
it's all done.
We're done. We just need it to be done. Or, because we're exposed, and it's one thing to come home and expose our children because we're exposed with our patients. But for us to come into your house, and expose the two of you who've taken care of us for years, and then have to live with the fact that we've exposed you. That's the thing I can't quite figure out about school. I mean, it's like we've got this willy-nilly stuff going on with school. It's like some schools are in, some schools are not, some schools are delayed, some schools are just randomly they're going to just stay in on school, virtual online for perpetuity till they figure out what's going on. You got Chapel Hill where mom and dad went to school. You got NC State where Brian went to school, and Brian's daddy loaded up the dorms, loaded up the kids. 2 weeks later, everybody's sent home, which scares me because, James Edwards in school in Fort Bend, and we got masks and we got directional patterns of who's going to be where, what, when, how, so the kids are not colliding in opposite. They know how to, they've got a protocol like you do in place, like I do in place, and we can't let the world come to an end. But at the same time, I'm like, dude, I don't like him going to school. Yeah. It scares me. I would prefer him working from home, even though it's his senior year.
And I think that's the tough part, and I hope that people in higher positions actually really sit back and peel the onion and figure out, if I make this choice, what is the cause and effect? If I make this choice, what is the cause and effect? And I think sometimes being on the outside looking in, you think about the choices that have been made and you're like, but do they realize how it affects everybody else? Yeah. And you hear the experts talk about that kids need the camaraderie. They need to be around peers. They need to, just sitting at home on a computer for
I can quite frankly tell you, and James Edward's an exception, and I'm not saying he's an exception because he's my son, but James Edward. It's like talking to a 50-year-old man. Okay. He's not needing or cares about that. He is already taking classes at MIT online for free. He's already studying stuff that has nothing to do with his curriculum. He is self-contained in his room and here at this house learning things, and did just fine. When school didn't come back after spring break, he sailed right through, did not have any withdrawals of friends. He hosts a group that's online with some kids that are in London that are on a completely different time zone, and they do bingo night, I don't know, there's games. One Saturday, each one of them takes the responsibility from the group, and they'll host something, whether it be Monopoly or a movie or whatever, and they're from all over the world, mainly Europe. And that's who he hangs out with. He could care less about being in a classroom. And in fact, he said it slowed him down. Whenever he was taking classes in class, it slowed him down. Whereas whenever he was here, he was able to get done with the assignment and get it turned into the professor and move on to something else. Yeah. And not have to wait.
And there are those kids, and then there's the ones that play softball, or the cheerleaders, or they've been doing that all through high school, and that's what they associate with, and that's what they've known since they were itty bitty. Yeah. And to not be able to do that and not be able to be around, I mean, it definitely affects, or has an effect on everybody differently. And even with, our clients, it's just like, the fact that I'm so glad y'all are open. I'm so glad that y'all are doing all the protocols to make me feel safe so that I can come back, because this is the only thing that I'm doing. I mean, you could hear it in their voices that it's just like they need some kind of normalcy, and we're the normalcy.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, we were just talking the other day, and it's just like, you know, because, you know, as an Aveda salon, we did hand massages and we would do makeup touch-ups and do all that stuff, and we stopped all that. However, we're like, okay, our new normalcy is the hand sanitizer, the cleaning after every, you know, that's the value added that we're adding right now.
Mm-hmm.
But with, as we move forward, it's like, when can we get back to all that? You know, and I think the more
we can. I mean, that's the biggest, scariest part of it.
But I think the more they find out, the more it's like, you know, can I really get it if my hands have been washed and her hands have been hand sanitized? Can I really get sick if I give her a hand massage?
Right.
You know, if I grab some lipstick and I hand it to her and she applies it just to finish her look when she leaves, can any one of us catch?
Right.
So, you know, outside of her taking off her mask to put on lipstick, and most women are complaining that they can't wear lipstick with a mask because it ends up on a mask anyway.
You can't.
So
you can't.
You know,
it's all over your mask.
I just thought about that. So
it's all over your mask. And washing it normal doesn't get it off for whatever reason, whatever they've got in the
nobody has to see the inside of your mask.
Right. Right. There's that too. Mark. I don't know. I'm just ready for it to all be figured out, because I don't like anything in my world to be in the interim. I like everything planned.
Yeah.
And I'm planned usually a year plus out. And I'll tell you, so I have a bride and groom, been photographing them for years. They wanted me to be there to photograph the wedding. They wanted me to plan the entire thing. They wanted me to book all the trip for all the people going. Booked all the stuff, got all the rooms done. We're still booking. And it falls right on top of what will be our 31st wedding anniversary. And on Saturday, she called. She's like, I need you to get it done. I want you there. I want you and Brian there. I want you there. I'm paying for you to be there. I want you there. I need you to be there. And the room rates had changed like a bunch.
Right there.
No, well, the room rates had changed a bunch, and, you know, it was going to be determined whether or not I was going to be able to stay for a couple of days, or, you know, a normal amount of time that we normally would stay, which is 7 days. It's Turks, and Turks is not close by. It's a haul. And I didn't want to fly in and be gone for 2 days, and it's just not worth it to me to be gone. I mean, it's just, you're going to have jet lag. It's just crap. It's not good. So I finagled with the resort, and, you know, I'm certified with them, and so I finagled, and I was able to extend it a little bit and negotiated a little bit with them, and they're paying for a little bit more than what they thought they were going to. But I felt so much better about having a travel booked with my name on the reservation for 2021. Like, something flipped. Whenever I just made the phone call, called my people, and he was like, "You're going to go." And I said, "I'm going to go." And so just put me in there. Here's the information, reservation number, confirmation. It's like, okay, I feel like I had just sort of taken a little bit of a, because everything we planned.
Yeah.
You know, and nothing was planned for next year. And so now, and oddly enough, now there's a trip for Mexico for the travel business. It's in August. So and I told B, I said Saturday, I said, we've got points from all the stuff that we've done. They've extended the points. We're going to go in February or March. We're going to go again July. We're going to go again in August. We're going to go again for Christmas. I said, now I have my travel schedule set for the year. I don't know what the rest of the world's going to look like. In fact, I called this morning to find out about my mom and daddy, bride and groom, not mom and daddy, bride and groom, for Thailand for November for their honeymoon. And they call back and they go, "We're sorry, but we're not booking anything for Thailand. We'll have to refund all their money or reschedule them and set on hold for next year. We have no clue what we're doing for Thailand." And I'm like, sucks. This is their honeymoon. And like, I thought that's what was going to happen, but I just feel like we should just say 2020 didn't happen.
Yeah.
2020 was just one of those years that I'm sure there's been others in the history of man that, or women, for those of you that are wanting to make sure that your femininity is acknowledged, history of people that were so bad, sucked so bad that they just was like, okay, this year didn't happen.
Yeah.
But everything. And it's not just me, you, local, Sugarland, Texas. It's the world.
Yeah. And you know, that's why, you know, people ask about traveling and stuff. I said, well, you know, the thing about traveling is that the coronavirus isn't contained to the U.S. It's everywhere in the world. And you're going to have to wear a mask wherever you go. You're going to have to live there just like you do here. So it's not that it's we're the only ones that have it.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like with you. I get a lot of the alerts from airlines and stuff because I mean I enjoy traveling. Mexico is one of my favorite places. So my cousin and I bought airfare to Cancun January 1. So, and he's just like, well, it's New Year's Day, and I'm like, what better way to start 2021?
No kidding.
Than on January 1st. And for the price that we got, I mean, it's like, and the good thing about airlines now is there's no change fees. So buy it at that price, and if you use it, great. If you have to change it, then you change it.
Yeah.
And I just got United Airlines changed their policies. I got an email with that, where you can fly standby for free. You can do, and my thing is like, I didn't understand why they changed it in the first place and just tried to nickel and dime you for a better seat and for reserving your seat or for your bag or whatever. And it's just like,
no, the industry's changing.
You're having to go back to
this has reset a lot of things that should have never been flipped. Now I don't know if it's going to change for commission for us, because after 9/11 all of the travel business no longer made a dime of commission on any airline stuff. That's not the normal protocol anymore. And so for that reason, many of my clients, almost all of them, use their miles, book their own flights, just give it to me, and then I connect everything to the transfers, and I handle the resort or excursions or whatever. But no, I think that a lot of people are figuring out, hey, maybe I ought to do this a little bit nicer, a little bit more customer friendly, because we're hurting. We're all hurting. And somebody came in the other day and she said something about I hadn't gotten my nails done. And I said, no, I order my nails on Amazon, and I haven't done my nails. I have done my nails and my toenails since this has happened for the first time in 30 years. Not in 30 years of marriage have I done my, in fact, yesterday we were out by the pool and Brian was like, I need you to do my toenails. And I said, yeah, I need to do mine too. So I sat out by the pool on a Sunday afternoon and did him a pedicure and did my own pedicure out by the pool, by the cats and whatever. Pulled out a box of equipment that I normally would not even have. But I said to the client that came in on Friday, I think it was, I was like, it's a domino. It's a domino effect. If I don't get paid for photography, I'm not going to spend money on nails. If I don't spend money on nails, they're going to go out of business. And so what's disheartening to me is watching certain businesses that I love and have taken care of for years and bring me business to go out of business.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know it or not, because it's real like fresh, as in this morning fresh. We went to Kenshin. We got in the car and went and popped into Kenshin on Friday night. I said to the kids, I said, let's go see Tammy. And we went to Kenshin and we had dinner. Huh?
Did she tell you? Because I went by there Saturday because a friend of mine wanted sushi. So he and I went to Kenshin, and there was a sign on the door that said closed, out of business. And I was just like.
So what happened was we were going to go to Manville to the seafood place, which it's right down the street, right? And Justin and Victoria were here. So I was like, let's just all go get, and I wanted seafood. And the boys had gone and gotten sushi when Mia had to go get her tooth fixed a couple of weeks ago. And so I had been wanting sushi, and I said, I'm going to go see Tammy. And so I had control of the car, and so I just drove to Kenshin. And so we strolled in and sat down, and Tammy took care of us and everything. And while we were in there, I was facing into the restaurant, back up against the wall. And there were a bunch of people that were outside of the restaurant that were Chinese or Vietnamese or whatever Tammy is, like looked like her family, right? And they were all outside smoking and talking, and she was taking care of people and then going outside and taking care of people and going outside. And when she came back in the last time, her head was tucked and you could visibly see that she was upset, but I didn't know what it was. Like, it could have been anything, right? And so we were there, and then we, went home, and then Sunday morning, this was Friday night, Sunday morning, Victoria sends me a screenshot, and it says everything must be liquidated from 8A to 8P. We're going out of business. And I sent her a text, and I said, I need for you to go to see Tammy right now, and I need for you to get her cell phone number and her email and get her, because I've got it somewhere written down, but it's been so many years. Because when I was real sick, when we were having all this HOA mess that was going on, and I got real skinny and real sick. And I don't know if you remember, you were with me during all that, but anyway, Tammy was really worried about me. And every time I come in there, she's like, "You've lost too much weight. Are you okay?" And whatever. But I had her cell phone then. But hell, that's been 10 years ago. And I usually just, go in and see her. And she'd just hand me the remote control, and I'd sit back in the middle of the restaurant and watch whatever I wanted to watch on TV, and who cared what anybody else wanted to watch. I was at home, my home away from home. And I said, "Go see her." And she goes, Victoria was just bawling. She goes, "I already went. We went before we took care of the puppies this morning. I got her cell phone." She was shocked to see us. And she was crying, and I was crying, and everybody was crying. And I said, that's the problem with this.
Mm-hmm.
You've got businesses who can't pay rent. They can't make it. And they're going to go down. And they're wonderful people. And you've supported and supported and supported. And you can't save them. You can't save them.
And Kitchen was pretty special to us because we were right next door.
I know.
For 7 or 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to know Tammy and Tom pretty well. And I mean, it's a kick in the gut when you walk up and you see a closed out of business.
Yeah, I mean, we were there. No, it was not full. It was not full, but it was at the capacity that it probably could have been, because when we walked in, we had to stand in the back and wait for them to leave, and then we got that table. So she had them staggered, but yeah, I mean, like, that was it. And she told Victoria Ann that they had to get everything sold between 8 a to 8 p, and that the landlord wanted the key this morning, today. And I said to Victoria Ann, I said, I think it's probably because they couldn't pay the rent.
And that's why, when I mentioned earlier, do the hires that be, do they really peel the onion and see how it's going to affect? And I mean, everybody's doing what they can. Most people are doing what they can to try to keep everybody safe and try to stay in business. But I mean, for a lot of small businesses, 2 months of lost revenue, you'll never make that back.
You can't.
You'll never make that back.
If we did not have real estate, travel, photography, we didn't have multiple businesses, we'd be putting a sign in front of our house for sale.
Yeah.
That's how serious this is.
And not only that, though, but Tammy and Tom, who have worked for years in the business to keep it going, and a lot of other small business owners that have put their life savings, that have remortgaged their house to keep the business going, because that's their life, to all of a sudden have to let it go because you can't pay the mortgage or you can't pay the rent.
And the reason why you can't pay the rent is because of the government and this crazy magic spell that we're all being subjected to. My friend Tammy, my other friend Tammy, who's in travel, she sent me a message on Facebook last night, and she was like, "I want to travel. I want to hug people. She was like going through, I want. And I said, I just want the evil magic spell to be broken. Mm-hmm. I want to wake up on 2021 and the magic spell has been broken, and we don't have to all go back to normal. We can wear masks. We don't have to hug and kiss each other. But I want businesses to be successful. I want people to come out and do what they need to do to support each other. I don't want to see anybody else's business go under." Yeah. Because it's just scary.
Just like with us. I mean, there's not much we can do online.
No.
We are hands on.
I mean, how are you gonna do people's hair online?
It's just like even house calls, that was legal for us to be doing during the whole 2-month thing and whatever. So, I mean, it's tough, and it's kind of a catch-22 because we can't work from home. Mm-mm. However, there's nothing that I know of in the future that will ever take the place of
going to the salon.
Going to the salon and getting your hair done. It's a people business, and it's a one-on-one business. It's a relationship business, and I think more so now, people are looking for those relationships, because even if it's just having a conversation with someone.
Oh yeah.
Because you can't do it.
It's so funny. You should see me when I go out in the garden. My neighbor's right there. And so a lot of times, he won't say anything to me. He'll just mow or walk by or whatever. But every now and then he'll open the gate and walk over and start a conversation about the cucumbers or the tomatoes. And you just know, you feel like you're the first person that he's talked to besides his wife and son in weeks. You know, I have to stop myself too, because I'm such a people person that when people do come see me, I don't want to like talk 90 miles an hour because I'm so excited that I'm finally in front of a human being I don't live with. It's like, oh my God, it's a human being. You know, you get so excited because you're so used to being, you want that. That's what we need as people, you know, and we miss it. And it's not normal to not have it. Brian hasn't been affected whatsoever by this situation, by the way, because he doesn't particularly care
James
about
Edward
people.
Probably gets his personality.
Yeah, James Edward doesn't care about it either too much. Victoria, same way. I made 2 babies that have more of that personality than I do, but they don't understand that. I mean, they hug and kiss and all that, but they're not like they could go for a month and not see anybody new, and it would be fine. But unlike me, I mean, like, I like to be around people.
Yeah, I'm the same way, and it's just like, you know, I've actually saved money not being able to go places and not being able to go to dinner, not being able to see a bunch of friends, not being able to travel. So the catch-22 is that it's helped me do other things, but it's still a different world. It's still, you still miss. I don't think I've gone into Houston since March to have dinner, to do anything. Everything's been
right here,
just around here. Places that I know, places that I frequent, but I don't think I've been anywhere in Houston.
Brian and James had to go do something somewhere. I don't remember what they were doing. They ended up, it may have been the health department or something. I don't remember. They were gone for something, and they went to Kenny and Ziggy's. And I was mad at him too, because he didn't come back. He left me his leftovers. Of, you know, Kenny and Ziggy's is one of the very few places that you can get Thanksgiving dinner all year long. I don't know if you know that. You can, on the menu, you can get turkey dressing, cranberry sauce, stuffing, all of it, all year, all the time. And it's good. It's so good that sometimes I'll just do that for Thanksgiving if I'm not doing a big spread. And Brian came home with his leftovers, and it was not enough to feed me and Mia, and I was so ticked off at him. So I've never been into Houston, and he came from Houston and brought this food that I love, and he didn't bring enough of it. I was just like, how dare you? You should have brought me.
You're like, Mia, I don't know what you're gonna eat, but
I gave it to her. I gave it to her, but it was just not enough. And I remember saying to him, like, what are you doing, dude? Like, you know, if you're going to go to the rest, like going to Maggiano's and not bringing home like an extra lobster carbonara or something. I mean, like, just go bring home a bunch of stuff, because that keeps me from having to cook. That's the other thing. I don't know if you've gotten good at cooking. I mean, I was already good at cooking, but I have to cook all the time because we're cooking and cooking and cooking and cooking and cooking. We're not going out to eat.
Well, the thing I haven't changed is the person that cooks for me. I pick it
That's
up
right. You've got her taking care of you.
And
yeah.
I like her food. I like her menu. It's healthy.
Yeah.
And it keeps me from eating
junk.
Grilled chicken or ground turkey every day with vegetables. So it's been good, and that I haven't changed. So
it's made me think a lot too about, like, if you're going to start another business, and you know, I'm all about starting businesses. It's like, think about when you're going to start a business, what businesses are there that stayed in business? And if you're going to start a business, somebody asked me the other day, I want to start a photography business. I said, no, ma'am, I do not recommend you do that. I mean, if you've got an established clientele, that's fine and dandy. If you want to do it on the side, that's fine and dandy. But everybody's walking around with an iPhone.
Yeah.
You know, this is not the time to be starting a studio like we've had for 22 years. This is still a business, but it's not the business that it was. It's not the business that it was, not because of COVID, but because of the iPhone.
Yeah.
And technology. But to think about that, and like people who are creating wonderful menus and delivering to people's houses, or the balloon lady that you mentioned this morning, this creative coolness of doing something that's at home to celebrate, because we can't have parties anymore, and people can drive by and see that you've created this awesome celebration, or whatever, but stuff that's...
And just like you said, I mean, you can't call a restaurant and say, hey, I want to rent your party room for 20 people.
No.
They won't do it.
No.
It's hard to find.
No, yeah, I don't think you can.
So you have to do it at home, and maybe find somebody to cater it for you, and, you know, just make your place the safe place for people to come and celebrate whatever you're celebrating. But it's changed.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of stuff has changed.
Well, and I told B, I said, you know, we were blessed enough to have a pool. And we're used to getting up when we're in Mexico and going to the pool. I mean, I'm going to miss the beach because I'm not at the beach, and I prefer the beach over the pool. I don't usually spend time at the pool because I've got the pool at home. So when I go to Mexico, I'm always at the beach. I never go to the pool. But I said this year the pool is the vacation spot. So for the first time and for a long time, I bought cushions. I put together whatever I needed to put together for, making it nice out there. So it was nicer than normal. So you could sit out there and have a cup of coffee, read a book, whatever, and the umbrella and plants around you that are tended to and are not let to go. We would have done it, but the mosquitoes are too bad. The very beginning of my Martini talks.
I don't think I get bit by mosquitoes.
You don't? Well, I do. I was getting eaten up. My original thought for Martini Talks was Martini Talks in the moonlight. And I was going to go out there in that garden by myself and do this as a monologue at night with the moonlight. And then there are all the snakes and the raccoons and the wild boar and all the craziness that lives in this neighborhood in my backyard at night. And that went out the window. So then I was like, I'm going to be by the pool. So I was sitting out by the pool. The first few Martini Talks, I'm out by the pool by myself. And then I'm out by the pool with my friends. And I'm completely covered in mosquito bites, like just scratching them and scratching. I said, no. So I moved it to inside. And maybe this fall when things are less mosquito and it's not so gross, then that would be a good place to be. But I've turned the space in home that normally would be used just for photos or ignored into our little vacation spot because we have to.
That being said, like I said, I started a project and most of it was to make my backyard
feel
a living space where I can have picnic tables and patio tables and people just come over and just sit outside and hang out. So that was very important to me to be able to change that, because although I still like going out and doing things, I was spending a lot of time at home.
Yeah.
And my thing is when the weather gets better, when the fall comes around, just to live in that space and be outside and just have people come over and just kind of hang out. Social distance.
Of course.
But.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's been good.
Yeah. It's been good too. I feel like we've moved into a different space, but we're all going to be better for having done it.
I think it made a lot of us take a step back, when it came to our businesses and stuff and say, okay, where can I cut costs? What can I live without? Even in your personal life.
Right. And what's
important.
What
can I live without? What's important? And running a business a lot leaner and living a lot leaner and not spending frugally and just going out and just spending. So, I mean, it's been good. It makes you think about a lot of stuff. Definitely spending time with the family that you can or staying connected that way. But it's been good.
I love the photos. I remember, I'll never forget it. Not till the day I die. I think it was a couple of days into this whole thing, and you had the mannequins on your dining room table, and you had wine glasses in front of the mannequins or something, and you posted something on Facebook or Instagram about having dinner with your girls. And I just thought, yeah, I feel that way so much. I feel so much like that. I put my stuff, put Elmo, Cookie Monster, Big Bird, put all my little babies that I play with, Cat in the Hat in the studio around me and be like, okay, where are the babies? But we're just going to have a conversation tonight with you guys.
If they answered back, that'll be a problem.
That's right.
But
That's right.
It's good.
It's all good. Well, I thank you for being here. I love you good, and you know that.
Well, thank you for the invitation. It's been really fun, and I mean, it's not like we're ever at a loss for words when we're around each other anyway. So and hopefully, that Mexico vacation January 1 starts 2021
on the right foot. Exactly. For sure. I hope you guys have gained some little nuggets of wisdom by hanging out with us today for the Martini Talks. We'll look forward to seeing you guys soon. Take care.